But if you can combine the two, that's nice too. Okay? Who's our speaker? Somebody said they were a speaker. Who was that? Right here? Okay. No, that's it. So, yeah, you probably got charisma. I can tell you did have some. But you want to have character and credibility. That's more important. All right. And number 5 myth is that leaders control by manipulation. That is awful. If you know somebody that is controlling and manipulates people and their people, they are a terrible leader. All right? That is not how you lead. Manipulation moves people for the leader's advantage. So if the leader, if the let's say a pastor or the CEO is trying to manipulate his people or her people, then they are not leaders. They're not good leaders. Okay? Because they're doing it for their benefit. Okay? But what a leader does is they motivate. They motivate. And motivation is moving people for everyone's advantage. Right. It helps the leader, it helps the congregation, it helps everybody in the business, the workers, etc. So, I have seen manipulation happen many times. As a matter of fact, can I be real? Yeah. I used to be a control manipulator. But God delivered me from that. Amen. And I'm not that anymore. Amen. But I used to be that. So I know one when I see one. But that's awful when we do that. We always got to be looking out for the other person. And you know what happens? Can't you tell when somebody's manipulating you? Do you want to do what they want you to do? Just my personality, I just like want to not do it just because they want me to do it. They're trying to manipulate me. But true leaders don't do that. Okay? They motivate the people. So leaders lead, and they lead more people. So I want to share now three things about leadership. Okay? The first one is that we need to understand the value of leadership. And hopefully by the time this class is over, you will understand the value. But let me show you kind of how it works. Can everybody see me okay? Yes. Try to trick us to this. So this is, here's a 0, so you're a 0 at leadership. And you can't do anything. And this is moving up in your leadership level. Okay? Thank you. All right, and then this is your impact. Okay? The impact, or let's call it, what is leadership? Influence. Influence. Who said that? Give me my hand. Give me my hand. It's influence. Okay? Yeah. So here's why you need to value leadership and learn to be and grow as a leader. If you, let's say, because I recognize the leadership in this room, okay? But I'm not going to be too kind. So I'm going to say, you're a 2. Now, you're really higher than that. Okay? But let's say you're a 2 on the leadership level. This is how this works. If you're only a 2 in your leadership knowledge and experience, then you're only going to be able to impact and influence that many people. That's all the influence you're going to have. But when you realize the value of leadership and you start, and bless you, you start growing as a leader, and let's say you move up here to a 6, your leadership starts to multiply. So now you're impacting and able to affect all these people. You're not doing it by yourself because we're going to learn what leaders do, but you're going to have a team and you're going to be impacting folks that way. How did we go from $100,000 USD dollars to $7 million a year? We started learning leadership. We did what we needed to do in our business, but we started in growing ourselves as leaders, and as we grew as leaders, we attracted leaders. Yeah. If you're a 2 as a leader, you're never going to attract anybody above that. It's always going to be below that. Okay? But if you're a 6, then you might attract a 5. And that's how we grew our business as fast as we did. Then as you continue to grow as 8, like an 8, then you are able to impact and help more people. Do you have any water?
I just asked him to bring me some.
Oh, excuse me, just a minute. I'm tempted to squirt some of that sanitizer stuff in my mouth. You know, people, I told you we work in substance abuse and mental health, and people during COVID were so burned off that they were drinking because it has alcohol in it. Can you believe that? That's a cough drop. That'll get the juices going. All right, where were we? So this is why you want to value and put it importance on you growing as a leader. Because if you want to have a ministry, if you want to have a church, most churches in America have 100 attendees or fewer. You know why? Because the pastor's having to do everything himself. He's not training his people. And that's what John was. When John first started pastoring, it was 3 people. Him, his wife, and one elderly lady. But as he started growing himself as a leader, the church started growing. And by the time he left that church, his first church, he had 200 people. And then he went to a larger church and grew that congregation. So that is why we want to value leadership. That's why it's so important. There in your book, on number 2, the second thing that we want to learn as leaders is that we have to make a commitment to learning. We got to make a commitment to learn how to lead. Because becoming a leader, Brother Billy can tell you this, and I can tell you this, it's going to cost you something.
Amen.
There's a cost to being a leader. Things like personal change. You got to change how you're doing things. Maybe instead of watching so much TV or listening to so much music, maybe you got to set aside a little time and do a little reading and studying. An hour a day instead of doing that.
Amen.
So it's going to cost you, where you're going to have to make changes, okay? And, but I'm telling you, it's going to be worth it. Yeah. I can tell you, Brother Billy can tell you from personal experience, it's worth it. Another cost that it's going to cost you is what we're just talking about, time. It's going to cost you time. Money, dollars. It's going to cost you dollars. One of the first things I did when I learned about leadership was I bought my team workbooks. now I did get it at half price because I work for John Master, but I bought his tapes, and back then it was tapes, sorry. And then it went to CDs. Now we got DVDs, but no, actually now you get it all online and just, just download it. But it costs money to do that. But I knew investing in myself to become a better leader and investing in my team would pay off in dividends eventually. Another thing is it may cost you friendships. It may cost you friendships. Some people just do not want to grow. They don't want to get out of that rut. And you love them, but it may cost you some friendships. And I can tell you, oops. You don't have to be smart to be a leader. And then finally, it will cost you your options and your freedom. In that, you may not, once you commit to leadership training yourself, equipping yourself, and equipping your team, you're going to have to give up some freedoms. Like doing calls, we used to get up an hour a week and listen to these trainings because we had people all over the country, and we would give up that freedom, the time and our different options to actually learn to be better leaders. There's a great quote right there by Earl Nightingale. Who wants to read that for us?
If you spend 1 hour a day for 5 years on any given subject, you will become an expert in that field.
Isn't that powerful?
Yeah.
Just 1 hour a day for 5 years and you become an expert in that area. And so you can become an expert in leadership. And then the third thing that I want to share with you about leadership is that you need to start leading. You need to start leading. So, let's read that quote again. Who read that? You did. Read that quote, speaking on our phone.
Okay. If you spend 1 hour a day for 5 years on any subject, you will become an expert in that field.
All right, give her a hand. Did that work? Got that on mark. All right. See, I'm coachable. Leaders are coachable. You gotta be coachable. So we got to start leading. Now, do you know everything there is to know about how to grow as a leader? How to be a leader? No. Some of you, this may be the first time you've ever been taught leadership. But start here. Just start where you are. And here's the thing, if you're leading a team, a worship team, business team, church team, you're ahead of your parishioners. You're ahead of your business partners. Because you're in here doing this training right now. Okay? So you just turn around and you start leading. And there are 4 levels of leadership. Leadership that interests people. People are interested in it, okay? And this is a person that knows where they're going. So you share what you just shared with me about what you want to do and everything. And that was interesting, wasn't it? It's interesting to learn that about your classmate. Leadership that impresses people. Maybe it impressed you that we went from $100,000 a year to $7 million in 4 years' time. Maybe that impresses you. Okay? I've been there. Another level of leadership is leadership that influences people. Leadership that influences people. And this is, I've done this. I've been there. and I want to take you with me. And so people want to go with you when you cast that vision. And then the fourth level is that leadership that impacts people. And this right here, class, this is where you want to be. You want to be in a ministry or a calling that impacts people. That is significant. You are taking others with you. How many of you heard the saying, it's lonely at the top? It can be when you get started, because you're the only one leading. Maybe you're going to lead yourself first. But if you have a big dream, you're going to need a big team. Okay? So
Say that again, please.
if you have a big dream, you need a big team. And you need the right kind of team. You don't want any of these people that are bickering, talking behind your back, or any of that kind of stuff. You want true leaders. Okay? So you want people that, you want to be the kind of leader that impacts people, that makes a difference in this world. So when I see a leader, I see leadership. So we just learned about leadership. The E in the word leader stands for equipper. Equipper. A leader is an equipper. This is another picture of leadership. And there is a great quote there in your book by Harvey Firestone. You ever heard Firestone tires? Yeah. Okay, this is him. He said, it is only as we develop others that we permanently succeed. Wow. It is only as we develop others that we permanently succeed. So leaders that equip people, this is how, as a leader, this is how you're going to equip yourself and equip your team. Okay? This is the game plan. This is how you get it done. First, you want to develop yourself. All right? So you want to grow yourself. Maybe just pick one area. Well, we'll talk about this. I won't get into that. But grow yourself first. Then the second thing you need to do after you develop yourself is you need to lead yourself. It's not enough to read it in a book. Okay? You've got to apply it. So you've got to lead yourself. The third step, then, is to develop others. Develop others. Then you lead others. That's the fourth step. And then the final step, and this is how you multiply your influence and your impact on the world, is that you lead others to develop others. That's how you multiply. That's how we were able to get to that goal in 4 years' time. The equipper's game plan. Does that help? Yes. That's how you're going to equip yourself and equip others. Oh, wait. That was a test. You didn't pass it. There was another one. Lead others to lead others. Lead others to lead others.
Whose phone is ringing?
Remind me to turn mine, make sure mine was off.
All right. What's the fine for a phone ringing? 20. Where's the Everybody make sure your phone is muted. Give me 20 shillings.
to develop yourself and lead yourself. So there is something that you will see again. Lead yourself. Lead yourself. Leaders game plan. All right? So, there's 5 quick thoughts when you want to equip people. Yep. I didn't do a slide on that, I'm sorry. But I'll give it to you real quick. What page are we on? Your book. Okay? So the E stands for evaluate. You want to evaluate your team. How well can they do as a leader? You want to ask yourself, how well can they do? And rank them between 4 being 1, 10 being really good. Okay? The second thing is to qualify. Qualify. How well do they do? It's easier to identify leaders than it is to equip them. Okay? I mean, to evaluate them. The U stands for unite. Unite. How well are we doing together? Okay? Again, we're evaluating how we need to equip our team. So how well are we doing together? If you're not working together as a team, there are great resources out there on teamwork. John wrote a great book on teamwork. Sarah 17 irrefutable laws of teamwork. So if they're not working as a team, you want to equip them, okay? And so maybe you sit down and study that book together, okay? So you want to unite.